Hello, my friends. Thanks for coming back. I'm so glad you did because today we're going to talk about how to create an effective author website, okay? We're going to make sure that your energy and effort and time and all of that and money is put to good use. You'll hear me say this. There's no sense in you having a website that doesn't do what you want it to do and give you what you want it to give you and give to your readers the way you want to give to your readers, right? So you want a website. You've decided at this point, hopefully, that it's worth your time. And if not, you're still exploring, and that's okay. But here's how to really make it give you the most bang for the most buck, right? Or the least buck. Is that how they say? The most bang for your buck, right? You want to get the most out of it. And especially if you're low on budget and you want to do this yourself and you don't have some magical team behind you, like doing all of this for you, like in fairy tales. Here are some tips to keep in mind, okay? I got your back. We're going to talk about what you need to keep in mind. So, to get started, you do not have to come up with some fancy, techie, crazy custom design, okay? You can use a pre-designed template to get you started. There are so many great templates out there that can meet your needs. You really never have to use custom coding or any of that stuff, okay? You really, truly don't. Maybe you work your way up to a little bit fancier, design elements or something later. But to get started, keep it simple. Don't stress. Find a free template. There are really, really decent ones out there that I promise you will be like, okay, I can handle this. Your website, remember, is a way for your readers to connect with you. So if you don't have a way for them to do that, you're missing out. I've talked about this in a couple previous videos, but to get the most out of your website, when people come to visit you, you want them to do something, right? You want to have them take action. So you need to tell them what to do. These little instructions are called call to actions, CTAs. A call to action is like a button that says sign up here, or a little pop-up box that says, like, would you like to be put on my mailing list? I promise I won't send you spam, and you'll get all of this amazing stuff. And then you just put your name here and your email address here, and you click the button and done, right? You need to have some calls to action, and you can have one on every page if you want, but there must be a way for them to take action once they are there. Getting them there is half the battle. But then what? What's the point? If you get them there and then nothing else happens, what is the point? You're missing an opportunity to continue that relationship with them. One visitor or one visit from that person equals nothing. They didn't take anything away. You didn't get anything. I mean, they may have gotten some value. Hopefully your website is just plump full of value for them. But in return, they didn't give you anything. So it's not a mutual relationship yet. And this isn't about getting stuff from your readers and your visitors, okay? But this is just about saying, hey, I'm here to make connections. I'm here to create community. I'm here to foster more of a relationship with my readers. That's what I want. This is what my book is about. I didn't write this book because I wanted to just make $1 million. I wrote this book because I know it's going to help people, maybe people like you. Do you want to stay in contact? I do. And then you give them ways to do that. So something like a sign-up form, like I just talked about with a little CTA, click here to sign up, whatever. You can also have like a separate contact page or a contact form. Give them a clear way on how to contact you. Don't be vague about it. If you don't want to give them your email address, that's fine. Maybe you just set up like a kind of vague, not vague, but just a general inbox at Google, Gmail, author Danielle Anderson at gmail.com, whatever, right? Something really just simple and easy for them to reach out and email you. Or you can have a contact form where they have to put in their name and their email and like the question they have or whatever it is. Some people may not like the form as much. Some people, are that's fine for them. But if you're comfortable giving them a way for them to contact you, like your email, that might be the best way. So consider how they can directly take action to contact you. And on your contact page or contact form, tell them, send me an email I'll respond, whatever, right? Give them some more instruction there. Here's the thing. Your visitors will not do anything unless you tell them what to do. I know that sounds like I'm really shortchanging humans here, but they aren't gonna take a lot of proactive action unless you tell them, like, this is where you should take action. This is what action I want you to take, all of that. So just be very, you don't have to be bossy, but be very direct, be very assertive. Like, I want you to sign up here because I want to stay in contact with you. If you're down, put your email address in there. Give them a way to contact you. And a contact page, by the way, is a really great way or great place to list out your social links and have little cute icons, and so they can click on whatever they want, and maybe you're here and you're there. And it's a way for them to say, like, I want more from you. I want to connect with you in a real, like, human to human way, and not just get some stuff from your website. This is how you can do that. Here's another thing you need to be very careful about. Your website needs to be simple, but it needs to have the right information, right? We talked about kind of some of the things that should go on your site in my last video, but you don't want a bazillion pages. Have you ever been to a website where there's like 47 pages and like each page has like a drop down with like 100 more little, I'm almost like, where do I even go? What do I do? I'm pretty like tech savvy. I can jump into a site or a program or a software and figure it out pretty quickly, but that just drives me nuts. Okay, I just want to understand who you are, what you do, and what you're here to help me with. I just want to understand those things. So why do you need 47 pages to do that? So keep it simple. Do not confuse them. Help them understand where to find information on your site. So even on your navigation bar at the top, don't use funky little names, okay? Home, about, book, whatever. Keep it simple. Blog. You don't have to get complex here, because what you're not doing is conveying your cleverness to the readers. You may think it's clever, but they're not going to get it. They're just not. Unless they have already gotten to know you, and then they'll get it. But they're not going to get to know you if they don't feel comfortable navigating your site. So keep it simple. Even 1 or 2 pages is totally fine. You may have heard this term landing page. A landing page is sort of like a website that's 1 page, and it has all of the information that a website should have all on 1 page. It's typically used as a sales tool to sell a product or service, and it doesn't go into tons of depth, right? You're not going to have like a 3-page author bio on there, but you're going to have a little blurb about who you are and what you're about and how they can connect with you and where you're going to be and what the status is on your book. You could totally have a 1-page website that's beautifully done, simple, appealing visually to the eye, gives them all the information. You don't have to break this thing out into multiple pages if you don't want to, if it doesn't meet your needs and it's not about what you're about. So the rule is keep it simple. Keep your website navigation clear and concise and not confusing, and it needs to tie back to your purpose. For example, you don't want other stuff on your website. Like, let's say you're writing a travel memoir. You don't want a bunch of stuff on like fashion and makeup. Maybe those are your hobbies and passions, and that's fine. But why are they on your author website? Is that what your book is about? If not, they don't belong. They could belong on, people have like a personal branding website. That's where they could go. You could have like another website for this, okay? But they shouldn't be on your site confusing your readers. It's going to mislead them. They're going to say like, oh, maybe her book is about like she traveled to some fashion shows in Europe and whatever, right? Who knows? But if it's not in your book, it's not about your book topic, it's misleading to have it on your site, and it just confuses people and feels like there's too much stuff. So keep it simple, keep it on point, keep it tied to your purpose, and use a few pages, not a lot, and try to minimize all the drop downs and all the doodads, okay? It doesn't need to be complex, and you'll thank me later when you're building this thing that you don't need to do a lot, okay? So I said this a little bit ago, you want to make it visually appealing, but not too busy. So think about how you can use color in a complementary way, but that doesn't blast people. So a patterned background is going to be probably too much. Keep your background white. White space is really good on the eye. Readers like white space, especially if you have a lot of content, like text. You want white space. You don't want your text to be like wall to wall on your website to the borders. It's way too long for us to read. We'll be like doing one of these and we'll get neck cramps. We're not going to read all that, okay? So make sure there's white space and there's margins. It's looking clean and sleek. Add color in to complement your style and your personality. For example, I like bright colors, so my sites always have bright colors on them. I tend to go a little overboard because I'm a very bold and overboard type of personality. That's okay for me. I'm comfortable with that. But I don't want to bombard my readers and like make them go cross-eyed like, oh my gosh, what did I just see? Think about things like moving elements. Is there too much movement? This thing is swinging in and this thing is sliding out and oh my gosh, and there's just like so much going on. How is that going to affect your reader? Is it going to cause more enjoyment on your site, or are they going to be like, whoa, what just happened? I'm like feeling a little dizzy right now. I'm like getting a little nauseous here. So think about whether the moving elements add value or add confusion or just add a little too much action, because your website design is not the show of your website, right? It just complements the purpose of your website. You want people to enjoy visiting you on your website, but you don't want to distract them from your real purpose of connecting and sharing content and sharing your book and all of that, right? So you also want to make sure to lean into your strengths. I mentioned this in my last video, but if you don't want to write a blog and that just feels like too much for you and you're just not feeling like that's your strength, that's okay. Don't write a blog. No one's going to be expecting it unless you're telling them that you're going to write a blog and you don't, right? So you don't have to write a blog. Maybe, you're like me and you like doing videos and you like having conversations with people. Maybe that's what you're about. And you could, instead of having a written blog, you could have a video blog where you just post videos and you have a little short description of each video and that's it. But you don't have to do it all, okay? So you don't have to have like a written blog and a video blog and then other things and all of the stuff. You don't have to have all of it. That might be too overwhelming for your readers. So think about your readers, why they're there, what they're coming to seek from you, and what your strengths are and what you enjoy. You don't have to do things you don't enjoy because they're going to pick up on that as well. So if you don't have any intention of sending, a weekly blog or a monthly newsletter or anything, that's okay. But make your website reflect what your true intentions are then. And then also make sure that your website is compatible on all devices. So you want your laptops and desktops. There's like a desktop compatibility mode, a mobile device mode, so cell phones, and then even tablets. So when I was designing my last website, I would literally build it for desktop. I would make a copy. I would make sure that it was compatible for mobile. I would make a copy and make sure it was compatible for tablet. Sometimes you shift the design a little bit depending on the elements. Those free templates that I talked about that you should use, they probably should be compatible with all devices without much shifting at all. You probably shouldn't have to go into all the copying and all the rigmarole that I did, but I like to overcomplicate things. So don't do as I do as I say, okay? Do yourself a favor and start simple. But you do want to double check all of your pages on different devices and see how they look. I would pull it up on my cell phone and pull it up on my tablet just to see how it was looking. Because you don't want people to come into your website on their phone and then they don't see what they expect to see, or they see something that confuses them and they're like, oh, this website's broken, and they just like hop off. They don't spend any time on it. Or if the words are so big on the device or something and they can't shrink it down, that's not going to be fun for them. So make sure it's compatible and still visually appealing and gives the value that you want to give on a different device. And then make sure that you think about how you want to roll this website out. You absolutely can have a website even before you're published. And this website might help you launch your book and have that, hey, I'm doing this thing with my book. Join me here, in 2 months or 2 weeks or whatever it is. But you don't have to like feel the need to explain what you're doing and why it's taking so long and why you're not published yet. Let's say you start the website, but you decide to traditionally publish, and all of a sudden it's taking you a year, and your website subscribers are like hearing you every other month go like, oh yeah, you know, I got rejected by another agent. And like, no one wants to hear that. Don't tell them. Do not tell them, okay? You don't have to feel the need to justify what's going on. Just tell them like, hey, this publishing process is great or whatever. Like, you don't have to even go into detail. Just describe your current project. Focus on giving value in those other ways, you know, how you can. If you want to write blogs, if you want to do videos, all of that, you can still be doing that with or without your book. Okay. So think of this as kind of this broader thing than your book. It's not like a delivery vehicle for your book. You're like, hop on the bus with me, kids. And by the way, here's the book. You know, like the book isn't the delivery vehicle for your website. You're not trying to sell them your website. You're trying to sell them your book by way of your website. Your website is going to give them a little bit more than the book will. And if they like what they see, they'll buy the book, right? So think about it a little bit like that so that you have an idea of how to deliver the content on your website that complements your ultimate goal with your book. So, you know, ultimately, keep it simple, have fun, be yourself, lean into your strengths. Don't try to do what everyone else is doing if they don't feel like it works for you. And make sure that it's just a good looking, clean, and compatible site. And you're going to be good to go. You can always make updates in the future. And by the way, Google likes that. They like to see that you're on your website making updates. So don't worry about it. In the next few videos, we're going to talk about how to get traffic and how to promote your site and all of that. Okay, so stick around. Don't go anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. And I want to see you back, you know, because I can see you, right? I know who's watching. We'll see you in the next video.